We are awfully pleased and certainly honored to be joined by a guy that not only is taking the Detroit football scene, but really the National Football League scene by storm. Please make some noise for a guy that I don't think he even knows yet how close he is to ownership of this area. Please make some noise for Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong, first of all, thanks so much for joining us, and I'm sure it never gets old to you to hear people chanting Suh, Suh, Suh. I mean, really, you have come in here, and this area has embraced you, and certainly we've embraced you for all the right reasons. You're getting it done.
Thank you very much. It's definitely been a pleasure. It's definitely been a pleasure to...
Hold on a second.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and use this.
Okay.
You can
live
jump
radio,
up in my lap if you want.
live radio, don't you love
it? It's definitely been a pleasure to be come out here and be drafted to this great city. Definitely embraced me ever since I was here, and definitely enjoying it, and I love playing for the Lions.
Hey, I want to ask. Okay, I got to get to the football stuff right away because it's a little. We'll get the geeky stuff out of the way. Especially last week against the Bears, you lined up at that linebacker position, and a couple of plays you had a full head of steam going into the line. You ran Krutz about 6-7 yards back. How much fun is that, and how unfair is that to the linemen when you get a 5-yard head start on those guys?
Oh, it's a lot of fun, and it's truly a blessing to really have our coaches have us trust us enough to be able to line up as linebackers and roam around, and know that we have our particular spots to get to and know we're going to get to them. And it's definitely a huge advantage for somebody like me to be able to have a full head of steam to go into an offensive lineman. It's definitely an enjoyment to and unleash my power on them.
Did they say anything to you? Did they say something like, come on, man, that's not right? I mean...
No, the one time I went against Krutz, and the play you're probably talking about when I pushed him back 6 or 7 yards in the backfield, I was like, I love it, so let's keep going.
You are leading the entire NFL in the Pro Bowl voting at your position. I know you expected to have a good year coming into this, but are you a little surprised at how quickly this has come? And not only that, but the recognition that you've received so quickly.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with what's been taking place on an individual standpoint. But like I've always said before, those things are going to come as long as our team continues to play well. And I think people are recognizing us as a front four on the defensive line, that we are definitely playing and trying to be a dominant defensive line across the NFL. And we want to continue to do that. And I love being able to be a part of that. And hopefully it can transition to us getting wins in these last 3 games.
Well, Ndamukong, I think that's what so many fans are excited about, is the way you and the other guys on that defensive line is playing. And we hear stories about what Chris Spielman meant to the Lions defense back when he was here, and then people have said Kyle Vanden Bosch kind of fits that same role. What does he do for you guys on the line, for you guys on the defense? I mean, how crazy intense is this guy? Because we hear stories of practice, but you got to deal with him every day.
Yeah, no question. Kyle brings a huge amount of energy, even with him right now being on IR and him just being at our practices and us him yelling and let's go. That energy is huge, especially when, I mean, everybody has down days and has those days that they really don't feel like getting up and running around, but you got to have a guy like that who's always on point and always wants to get the best out of everybody, and he brings it even though he's not even practicing with us.
Ndamukong Suh, kind enough to join us here on the radio bar at the Motor City Casino. Ndamukong, I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to go down this road very carefully because I don't want to get you in trouble with the league anymore. So this is the way I'll word it. Did you ever get in trouble for shoving somebody in elementary school?
Yes, I have gotten
in trouble. You did? Were you fined, suspended, anything like that?
No, not really. I was just kind of put in timeout and suspension a little bit like that, but nothing too hard.
Because here's my problem, and now this is Sean Baligian speaking, not Ndamukong Suh. I think the NFL is a bad place when you start to fine people and punish people and give them timeouts and tell them no dessert when you're busting guys for knocking quarterbacks down. And because to me the biggest problem is, and I was ticked off about this last week, the biggest problem to me is show me in the rule book what Ndamukong Suh did wrong. And again, if you don't want to say anything, I get that. I don't want to get you in trouble with the league. But as far as I know, Ndamukong, I can't see a rule that you broke.
No, I definitely understand what you're saying, and I see what the NFL came. They want safety first, which I definitely respect, and definitely all for him and want to keep the players safe. But and we just got to continue to play hard and understand that in certain situations you can't do certain things, and you're going to learn from these mistakes. And that's what I've continued to do, is learn from my mistakes that I've made Obviously, the Delhomme hit is a big one, and then obviously the Rondé Barber one down in Dallas and pulling his hair. And those are just instances I've been able to learn from and find different ways to take guys down and make plays.
How different has it been for you, Ndamukong? I mean, you came out of college and you were throwing guys around and it was almost celebrated, and now you've got to I wouldn't say tailor your game to the rules regarding quarterbacks in the NFL, but do you find yourself thinking about, if this guy's doing this and I'm coming after him, do I have to adjust how I'm going to hit that guy, or does it happen too fast where you're just thinking, all right, well, I'm just going to have to hit him and live with the consequences?
No question. I mean, you definitely find yourself adjusting to different things, and I mean, particularly that hit with Cutler. One of the reasons why I did push him to the ground was because I didn't want to lead him with my head and have an opportunity to get a helmet to helmet or anything of that sort, because obviously he's a defensive. He was in a defensive position with me coming from the side and him not seeing me. So I've understood that. And then college is a lot different. I've been able to slam quarterbacks, although I've gotten a penalty for that before in the Baylor game that we had. And it's things that I've understand. You just got to get back to the kind of the true tackling system of wrapping up a guy and having your hands in his back and face and having frontal face into the guy's shoulders or into his chest.
Well, that begs the next question. Why do you hate quarterbacks so much?
That's pretty much my job, to hate quarterbacks and running backs. So, and it's something that I find enjoying. It's definitely enjoyable to get after quarterbacks and running backs, and I think that's just kind of my mentality. That's kind of the reason why when I was leaving high school, I didn't want to play offensive line, because I played both sides in high school and wanted to go and play defensive line.
Okay, I got to ask you about the Tom Brady sack. You know the one I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Now, be honest with me. Your intent was to fling him around, wasn't it? Wasn't it? And he went dead weight on you, didn't he? He was not going to let you do that.
What, are you trying to get him another fight?
Yeah, why not?
What's wrong with you?
No, I was definitely just trying to get him down to the ground as quick, because he's a very smart quarterback, and I know if I didn't get him to the ground very quickly, he was one of those guys who would be able to throw the ball, throw it away, and then obviously we'd have to start over again and not be able to get off the field.
Okay, you hate quarterbacks, we know that. But now, this is what I find very interesting. In the locker room, your locker is right next to the quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. What's that like? Do you guys chat? You must like your own quarterbacks, okay? But do you talk about anything or?
I'm all good with all our quarterbacks. Every morning I say hi to Sean. He says hi to me. We have strike up a little conversation. How was your morning? How was your evening? And so forth. So I'm good with all our quarterbacks. It's those opposing quarterbacks, those guys who don't have those red jerseys on, that I'm getting after.
Good thing.
Ndamukong Suh kind enough to join us at the Motor City Casino. Hey, Ndamukong, we were just talking to Bill Keenis off the air, and he pointed out that since the Buffalo game, this defense that has been so decimated with injuries, not only on the line, not only in the linebacking core, certainly in the secondary, if anything, you guys have stepped up. You're 7th in the league in defense since the Buffalo game. This is a defense that, even with all the injuries, you guys seem to be getting better as the season progresses.
Yeah, no question. We've had a lot of injuries, and even this last week, we've had a lot of guys. As McDonald went out this year, I believe, last week with a broken arm, and obviously Landon Johnson went out with I believe a concussion and so forth. So it's kind of tough to be able to deal with those things. But guys behind them have definitely stepped up. Vasher's stepped up in a lot of different positions. And it's been great to be able to have those guys. And even on the defensive line with Kyle being out and Turk stepping up and LJ, Lawrence Jackson stepping up. It's been great to have those guys and them be able to bring that extra energy and keep the level of play up.
Now, you're obviously the frustration level that people around here, and I know that you're new to this, but this team hasn't won in more than 10 years. And so a lot of them, it's like, okay, here they go again. It's just another double-digit loss season. Nothing ever changes. Can you kind of describe why you think things might change? And because I think the players in the locker room see the talent there, and even though the wins aren't there, they know that better things are ahead. Can you just kind of vocalize that just a little bit?
Yeah, it's definitely kind of hard to explain. Just obviously, I think it's more of a feeling and an understanding of what the past has been. We're not getting blown out of every single game, which is when I've been watching the Detroit Lions and seen them play in the past when I was younger or in college, they were getting blown out of games and had no chance since the first snap of the ball. And we feel like every single game we step into, we have a great plan, we have a great opportunity. It just comes down to us as players to execute that plan and make sure we don't make mistakes along the road. And obviously we've made mistakes and not been able to bounce back from them, but we made mistakes last game and we bounced back from them and made plays when we needed to win the game.
Isn't there also a feeling, though, that I know it's not a one-man team, but in the NFL, if you don't have your guy, if you don't have your quarterback, you're going to be behind the eight ball. Do you guys have that feeling that you know that Stafford's coming back next year and that the future is brighter and that has I know you don't want it to affect the team, but that's reality in the NFL. I mean, do you guys have that feeling as well?
No question. We definitely love it when Stafford's starting and so forth, but I think we're one of those lucky teams that are lucky enough to have 3 great quarterbacks. And Sean has been able to step up in, as well as Drew, as you can see, led us to our 3rd win of this season. So, I mean, we're in a tight position, and it's just tough that those guys behind Matt haven't had the same opportunity as Matt as in time to prepare, and they were kind of throwing the fire, and they've definitely adjusted to it and done pretty well.
Hey, Ndamukong, how are you about Nebraska joining the Big Ten? I mean, I know you're a Cornhusker and all that. I mean, what's your take on Nebraska jumping into the Big Ten?
It's tough for me because obviously playing college football in Nebraska, I was in the Big 12 and loved the Big 12. I've always fought with people that the Big 12 was the best conference, and now I'm going to have to switch it. And the only reason why I'm switching is because Nebraska's coming to the Big 10, and that's the reason why they're getting better and why they're going to be elite amongst all the other conferences. But I'm definitely excited. Obviously, me being up here in Detroit, I'm going to be able to see a lot of their games on the Big 10 network, and then hopefully I can go to East Lansing and Ann Arbor to catch a game live.
Is Bo really that intense?
He is, and he's a great guy. A lot of
he
people.
He scares me. I'm not going to lie to you. I look at his antics. He scares me.
No question. He can be scary, but when you really sit down and understand that guy and have a great opportunity to be around him, as I have, and I actually just talked to him the other day to wish him happy birthday, and he's been a great coach to me, and he's helped me pretty much come the player I am, him and his staff and his brother. I mean, and the thing is, his fire is for the best of his players and the best of that team, and that's the way he is, because he wants to help you, will you to be the best you can and help that team be the best team they can, and I think that's the way he is. I'd rather have a fiery coach like that than have a passive coach.
Well, you've got a fiery one right now in Ndamukong, because apparently Jim Schwartz lit into you guys today, according to our own Tom Kowalski. What's it like playing for Schwartz? He obviously is willing to get after you if he doesn't think you're putting forth the right effort.
No question. I see Coach Schwartz and Coach Pelini very similar, and Coach Schwartz is one of those guys that's truly a player's coach, and I didn't get it. I got a true feel really from Kyle and on how he was, because I'm a rookie and hadn't been around Coach Schwartz that much, but as the season's gone, I've been able to sit down in his office and understand exactly what he wants from me and really how he sees his team, and his vision is great, and he's one of those smart, very, very smart coaches that really loves his players and wants his players to do the best, and obviously for us to win. So I'm very excited and very pleased to have a coach like that.
But he was pretty upset today, wasn't he?
I definitely think he was. He had a lot of fire, a little extra fire today, but it's all in good intentions, and I definitely understand where he's coming from.
Hey, Ndamukong, we really appreciate the time, and not only best of luck this weekend against Tampa, but wish you and yours a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas. Hope that you stay here for a long time to come, and boy, I love to hear you say you can't change the way you are, because I think that's what endears you to this area, and we really appreciate it. Make some noise for Ndamukong Suh.